Hello everyone and welcome back to a best of 5 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Zerg versus Zerg. I feel like this has been the case in like half of the casts that I've done recently, but also in this one, I think we're starting off with a little bit of cheese. Our blue Zerg player here from South Korea not starting off this match with a drone. Instead he decides to go for a spawning pool at 12 supply. We are looking at none other than Solar's main base. And his opponent in the opposite corner of Hardwire with the red Zerg drones from Italy. The current world champion of StarCraft 2, and his name is Reynor. Alrighty, so this particular best of 5 is the quarterfinals of DreamHack Last Chance, a major tournament that took place just a little bit ago. And it looks like Reynor is going to be going for the hatchery first. Now, the hatch first is the standard in Zerg versus Zerg. It's just that obviously it's also a little bit dangerous if the opponent decides to go for some hyper-aggressive strategies. So Solar, saving up some larvae right now. We'll have to see if he decides to pull the drones as well. So he starts up 6 Zerglings right now. There is a drone out on the other side of the map. I have seen Zerg players try to like sneak the drone into the main base and then like try and maybe like create one right here on the edge. But exactly, that's what this spawning pool is trying to prevent. Oh, okay, he's gonna cancel the hatch, I think, right? Yeah, he's gonna have to. Okay, yeah. So, you built the hatchery, and if you click fast enough, for a couple of seconds, it leaves behind a 3x3 square of creep. So, Solar, going for a proxy spine crawler? A proxy spine crawler. I've casted over a decade worth of games. I think I've seen this once, maybe twice. Anyways, at this point, Reynor does see that Zerglings are going across the map. He will also soon find out that there is indeed a hatchery on the other side in the natural. The problem is that this, like the 12 pull into a hatchery on the low ground at like 17 supply is not all too uncommon. But with a spine crawler? Alright, I like it. Solar immediately starting off with a bag. Now this is awkward. Yeah, normally you pull drones against this sort of thing. Right now, Reynor is going to see the spine. He wants to engage this. But is it possible for him to hold on to the nat? If he loses the natural expansion, he's going to be in a world of trouble. 3 drones is already too much, actually. So now the spine crawler finishes rooting as well. You really only want to lose a handful of workers. Obviously, I guess you can lose a couple more than you usually do. Nice target firing here as well with the spine crawler. Normally, you can lose like 3 drones against a 12 pool, you'd be fine. And obviously, you gotta take into account the cost right here of this spine crawler. It's not just 100 minerals plus the drone itself, because the hatchery council comes to mind as well. But I think 10 workers is more than enough. Solar not done just yet either. He's just trying to see if he can kill that queen right there on the back as well. And I think Brenda will end up going down. Maybe even the second... Oh, God. Okay. Maybe even the second queen, too. But there we go. We're going straight to game 2. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the Koreans, they do play Zerg versus Zerg a little bit differently than the non-Koreans do. They take a lot of gambles. So imagine, right? Against the build that Solar just did, imagine that Reynor would have gone for literally any type of pool first build of his own. Imagine that Reynor would have gone for a 12 pool, a 13-12, a 14 pool, a 16 pool. There's a lot of variations that he could have gone for. I think he would have just shut down the opener there from Solar and made Solar look like a bit of a fool who was going for a fun strategy. But I guess Solar ran the numbers in his head. He's like, you know what? There's probably an 80% chance that my opponent in game number 1 of a best of 5 is gonna go for a hatch first, especially since it's Reynor. Speaking of which, I think he's gonna be going for the gold base first right here on Pride of Valtaris. Anyways, I guess he's, you know, he's making the assumption that Reynor at least like 3 out of 4 games will go for a hatch first in a game number 1 of a series, and therefore he will probably win the majority of the time. So he probably did the math, he ran the numbers, and Solar decided to take the gamble. Ended up working out brilliantly, but it's one of those strategies that you're probably better off avoiding it in a 1 versus 1 on the ladder, right? The chances of that build working, not particularly high, but it's really cool to see him mix it in. Anyways, so Reynor has gone for the gold base first. Now, it is a long distance, so I'm not exactly sure if Reynor will also be transferring drones there. So to clarify, a mineral trip with a drone carrying golden minerals returns you 7 minerals, whereas a blue mineral patch returns you 5 minerals a trip. So it is significant. Okay, he is going to be transferring some drones, actually quite a few, but he's going to have to make up for all of this missed mining time, right? So for every second that goes by right now, Reynor effectively loses like 1 mineral per drone. So, yeah, he's going to have to mine from the golden base for a good couple of minutes before this is really worthwhile. Are we gonna go for the epic drone split right here? Yeah. Needs to be very careful, but there we go. Effective timing, though, on that drone transfer. Anyways, what do we have in the meantime on the other side of the map? Solar has once again gone for a quick spawning pool. A very safe opener this time around, it seems. But he has also now followed it up with a baling nest. So this is definitely something that Solar can get very aggressive with. At this point, I think he may have also, yeah, scouted the edge of the creep right there, and I don't think this is something that Reynor has seen. So Reynor doesn't know that he's been spotted. What exactly is Solar going to do against this? So there's a spine crawler coming up over at the golden base. If Reynor decides to go for a very quick third hatchery, this could definitely bite him in the butt, because at this point Solar only has 18 workers. Yeah, Reynor trying to sneak out a couple of additional workers over here at the gold base too, but this is going to be very difficult. Link speed about halfway done at this point here for Reynor. Whereas on the other side of the map, the baling nest is already finished. Solar actually morphing in a couple of those banelings in the tall grass, just outside of the side blockers right there for Reynor. So Reynor's not going to be able to get a whole lot of vision of this. At this point, Reynor knows he's been spotted, but he's going to see the timing at which Link speed finishes up here, and that's absolutely huge. The Queen and the Spine Crawler are going to have to do some good target firing. Oh god, okay, good baling detonation right there for Solar. Okay, eventually the Spine does poke it away, but in the meantime, on the other side of the map, a couple of Zerglings here from Reynor have been slightly more successful. Is Reynor going to go for the oldest trick in the book? Hide a couple of Zerglings, oh god, inside of the main base of the opponent. Decent detonation right there for Reynor, all things considered. Maybe he can still clean up these Lings. One Baneling once again morphing in, and it looks like he's going to be able to stabilize. I was going to say, this is the oldest trick ever. This is what we used to see in Wings of Liberty. Try and distract the opponent, hit him at 7 angles at once, and then sneak a couple of Zerglings in the main base, morph them into Banelings, and then run them into the mineral line. Solar, though, a little bit too good for that. Alright, so now we're talking 17 drones versus 17 drones, with drones right here in red over at the gold base. Needs to be so careful, though. Once again, not the best detonation there for Solar. And I think once more, Reynor's going to be able to stabilize. And now it's starting to become a bit of an issue. If they keep trading like this... Oh god. Yep. Good detonation there for Reynor once again, trading 2 Banes for 2 Banes. If they keep trading like this, obviously the economical advantage is going to be for Reynor, right? Look at the minerals that he's getting right now. He's getting effectively like, I don't know, 5, 6 more Zerglings here every minute that goes by. And by now I think he's made up for the travel time as well that the drones had to take. I wouldn't mind seeing another Spine Crawler here as a follow-up. Anyways. Oh. Okay, one drone gets targeted. Zerglings are trying to run out of it again. More Zerglings snuck into the main base here by Reynor. Okay, good detonation there on a defensive Baneling by Solar. One Overlord overextending right now as well. Losing an Ovi here is actually super painful. Yeah, he's gonna try and fly it away again as well at this point. These players are just trying to maneuver around each other all of the time. I'm just assuming at some point we're gonna see a massive detonation in that mineral line, but so far it hasn't happened yet. Clean Stellar Micro here by Reynor. But it's so easy to accidentally mess everything up. Just like Solar just showcased for us. He decided to jump on top of that. He decided to jump on top of that. And it turns out the Banelings just finished morphing in. What you gotta keep in mind is that this is Europe going up against Korea. So these guys are probably playing on the North American servers. Meaning that they both have like an equal amount of bad ping. Probably both around 150 to 180 or so. Depending on what exact server they were playing on. Usually they alternate between NA West and NA Central. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that this is a Ling Bane battle where everything is delayed by like 0.1 second. Which doesn't sound very significant, but look at the amount of micro that's going on right now. It's so incredibly hard to control your units properly. It's actually incredible to see. Like, if you've ever tried it yourself, you know how incredibly difficult it is. Once again, good detonation right there for Reynor. As long as he keeps his mineral line alive, it's all good. That being said, these drones have been skirmishing around a lot as well, right? They've spent a lot of time derping around. Couple of Zerglings, okay. Jumping on top of the Banes. Reinforcing Links coming up as well. He target fires down the last Baneling, and that one will also be killed. This is what, look at that, 600 plus actions per minute. Zergling Baneling micro looks like. Reynor did end up losing the Queen, but if you look at the supply count, it is no longer lying. This is the point at which that gold base really kicks in. And you can see it reflected in the supply count. And I think we're going to go to game number 3 very soon. Because there's really no way that Solar is going to be able to contest this, right? Losing 2 queens right now, as well as a lot of Zerglings. Now even a few drones are going to go down. Hold up, let me go back, because apparently there's so much going on. While there's some engagement happening here, a few banelings came from the high ground into the mineral line as well. And despite the fact that Reynor was microing on the other side of the map, he still split up his drones reasonably well. Yeah, I don't think it really matters though. Okay, GG. Map number 3. We're on Curious Minds. Smallest map in the current map pool. The map with the shortest rush distance from natural to natural. So, I guess both players will probably go hatch first, right? Judging by the fact that it's 13 overlords so far, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. It's kind of funny. Obviously, playing a series in StarCraft 2 is very exhausting mentally, especially after microing a lot of Zerglings back and forth for quite some time there. I guess it makes sense to maybe take a bit of a breather and open up with a regular hatch gas pool. The build that both of these players will probably be playing most of the time in practice games and on the ladder. Yeah, so there's a 16 hatch going up for Solar. And there's a drone going down towards the low ground as well for Reynor. Kind of ironic to see it on the smallest map after such a cheesy series. Curious Minds does have a little ramp right over here. So the ramp obviously allows you to defend a little bit easier. It's going to be quite difficult to get some good hits in. If the queens can obviously get, like, you know, shots in first. So queens being able to target fire down banelings towards the low ground is very, very helpful. But it looks like we're just going to go for a standard good old start. Both players at this point don't know what they're going up against just yet. Slightly different Overlord scouting pattern right here from Reynor, it seems. So Reynor is going to be able to get a glimpse right here of his first, the opponent's first Overlord, that is. What he's really looking forward though, or what he's really looking for though, rather, is the second Overlord. And it looks like he's going to be able to spot that one as well. When you see the second Overlord, you know that it's at the very least not a super quick spawning pool, right? Because this reads as a 13 supply Overlord. And that means that at the very least Solar isn't going for something super cheesy. This OV over here is going to be able to confirm it as well very soon. And Reynor should know exactly what he's going up against. Hatchery first. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we see the same thing happening. Solar is going to scout his opponent's natural here too, so he sees one drone. He wants to be paying attention to what pops out of this very first cocoon on the low ground as well. He sees a wiggle on the hatchery, so he knows that a queen is being produced. These are all very small tells of exactly what it is the opponent is going for, right? So what these guys are looking for right now is anything that is other than the standard, right? Anything other than what they are doing right now. So obviously in a mirror matchup, if you're both doing the same thing, it's relatively easy to keep tabs on what's happening. Now here's where the first big deviation seems to happen, because Reynor hasn't sent out a drone just yet. Okay, so he's got to go for a third queen a little bit quicker. A few Zerglings right now trying to make it towards the high ground. It's not going to happen. Very quick Evo chamber right here from Reynor. He really wants to deny it. Even the drone's being pulled right there for a little bit. Overlord is even going to go into the main base. Really? That seems a little excessive. I guess Solar is really concerned to go up against someone who's going very quick lair. Reynor is going very quick lair, however. But he's building it inside of the natural expo. So at this point, I don't think Solar saw anything. He saw that there wasn't a lair in the main. He didn't see the Evo chamber, and he didn't see the lair either. So this creates a bit of a guessing game right here for the blue Zerg player. Okay, he's gone for his own Evo chamber here. Fair enough. Oh, he cancelled Metabolic Boost? Really? Metabolic Boost was seconds from finishing, and Solar decides to cancel. So, let me get this straight. At this point, Solar has slow Zerglings, +1 Carapace coming up, a Roach Warren coming up, but also a third base. So if Reynor was like hiding any Zerglings in the back of his mineral lines, this would be an absolute disaster for Solar. But he's taking, once again, a gamble, whereas Reynor's opener here is far more safe. So he's gone for a second Evo here, he's gone for a Roach Warren. I'm expecting Roach Speed right away. Yep, there it is. Metabolic, no, not Metabolic Boost. Glider Reconstitution. If you're gonna do the caster flex, Lowko, at least get it right. Anyways, Solar right there, scouting on the high ground. Saw the wiggle in the Roach Warren, I'm sure. So he knows what he's going up against right now, but that certainly was a bit of a gamble. He did start Ling Speed back up. Went for his own lair too, but... This is definitely a little tricky right now, though, for the blue Zerg. Because how many drones do you want to make, right? That's the real question. So they're both now sitting at 46 workers. Solar, however, a little bit later here with his upgrades. A little bit later here as well with his lair. And while he does have a third hatch, the same can be said here for Reynor. The only problem here for Solar is that he doesn't know exactly what his opponent is going for, right? So he saw the scout right there on the high ground. He wants to go into main base. Once again, good denial right there by Reynor. But there could be a Spire right over here, right? It would only be a couple of mutas, but it would be very difficult to actually notice that. So Solar needs to be a little bit cautious. He did add on a couple more drones here, which is very brave, to be honest. Double Overseer Scout by Reynor. Okay. Really does not want to be caught with his pants down, I suppose, but a little bit dangerous. I guess he saw the timing right there of the Laramorphin. He's like, you know what? Don't really have to be concerned about it. Liking this opener here for Reynor a little bit better. Yes, Solar does have the economical advantage, but he's going to have to defend against speed roaches right here, whereas his own Glio Reconstitution only just now started up. Alright, so this is a more conventional Zerg versus Zerg, but with some big gambles, especially from our player in blue. Nice fight right there, though, for Solar, setting up the concave. He knows he's going to be slower, so he's trying to fight on creep here, which I really love. Like that Overlord pooping right over here with the creep, right? It gives him that speed that the opponent is lacking, without giving the speed boost then as well to his opponent by spreading creep further. Right? It's kind of beautiful. I'm like 99% sure that that is intentional. Yeah, look, now he moves the Overlords away. Once Overlord speed is done, it doesn't matter. Then you can start spreading creep a little bit further, but that is one way of actually, you know... That's actually so sick. I love that little move. Really cool stuff. There's Zerglings right here on the watchtower as well, so Solar can see if the opponent decides to cycle around and go in for an attack from the other angle. Not happening here. So they're both just trying to macro up a little bit. Sneaking out a few drones here and there. Trying to outsmart the opponent, but in the end, they're both at the exact same amount of workers. Well, pretty much anyways. Double upgrades though for Reynor. And in these roach wars, I do think, yeah, having 2 upgrades researching at once is better than having 1 upgrade research at once. I know, crazy. Contamination even being used right here is maybe that the reason why I decided to go double Overseer. Not something we normally see, but yeah, Contamination is a ability from the Overseers. It costs a lot of energy, but it's an ability that temporarily halts the production or the research inside of any of these structures. So, yeah, it's very strong. It's just something we never really see. You can use it on hatcheries as well to make sure that the larva mechanic doesn't pop off, or at least it delays it for a little while. Anyways, apparently this is the moment where Reynor really wants to fight. His +2/+1 has finished. At least 3 seconds from now. Yeah, by the time an engagement will happen, it's done. And Reynor is going up against a Zerg player right now with only +1 carapace. Yes, Solar does have more units here because of that economical advantage from earlier, but... Oh my god, this concave here is so good though for Reynor. Yeah, the hatchery is actually in a lot of trouble. A couple of roaches now splitting themselves off from the pack. Solar trying to get the engagement back in his favor. Now Zerg, okay, and Red decides to just target fire down the hatchery on its own. A lot of drones are being killed, but Solar does get the jump on this force. Will the hatchery go down? I don't think so. Nope. Good defense right there by Solar, but he did end up losing 11 drones in the process, so... Yeah, good defense with an asterisk. Maybe not as great as you want it to be. Yeah, these are roaches with a mission. They really want to kill a hatchery. The assassin roaches. Not gonna happen. Alright, now Solar trying to push his numbers advantage. He has finished up his own +1 missile as well. I think he actually finished that up halfway through that battle. Right now, he does actually get a good jump right here on his army, and if he can just simply overwhelm the units in red, he can definitely, yeah, squeeze for a victory. This almost feels like a bit of an all-in right here. Reynor, obviously, though, with the defender's advantage, his units will spawn closer to the battle. Just because his hatcheries are closer by. And I think maybe that was a little bit of an overextension there for Solar. Yeah. You can probably feel the heat right there, right? He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna likely lose my third base if I don't win right now. And at that point, it's an absolute disaster. I'm already an upgrade behind, which you can look at by clicking on your opponent's units. And yeah, at that point, he apparently felt a little desperate. All right. So, match point right here on Berlingrad for the Italian Stallion. And Solar, actually, okay. Solar's like, you know what? If he went for a hatchery first on Curious Minds, and now he's 2-1 ahead, he must be going for a hatchery first right here on Berlingrad as well, right? I think the odds are indeed pretty good, Solar. Are you once again gonna go for a Spinecrawler proxy? A proxy spine. It even sounds weird for me to say. A proxy Spinecrawler. Anyways, I don't know at what point you send out the drone in game number 1. I think right about right now, probably. Yeah, I don't think so. No, this map is huge, right? It's pretty sizable anyways. Once you mine out the minerals here in the middle, I guess a drone leading ahead of the pack would actually be quite helpful. Drone mines out the mineral patch right over here. Maybe hatchery on the bottom of the ramp, cancel hatch, make a spine, walk it over. Zerglings are then going to be able to take the shorter route towards the other side. Anyways, not what's happening this time around. Solar gonna go for... Yeah, what I was thinking he was gonna go for in the first game as well. So just a spawning pool at 12 supply, and then into a bunch of Zerglings, and then a hatchery at 17. So ultimately, what you're looking for right here as Solar is to kill a bunch of workers. So I think 3 or so is okay. Ideally, obviously more. And if you can, you really want to get the cancel on the hatchery. So Solar right here producing a queen as well as a follow-up. How many Zerglings is he going to produce in total? So he's currently at 21 supply. Are we going to go 21 Overlord and then go back to droning? Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there's the Overlord. Oh my god, Reynor actually. Just making sure there's no proxy Spinecrawler coming up. Look at this. So Reynor has spotted that. Yeah, he's going up against the, you know, a similar looking build from game number 1. Alright. So, this time around, you want to pull drones. I think the number is 13. I think that's what Reynor said at some point. 2, 4, 6, 8, I don't know. I think it's about 13. I think that's the magic number, what Zerg players have determined. 1 drone going down so far. 1 drone in red hit points as well, being micro to the back. Wonderful movement right there. The only problem is that the hatchery is running dangerously low right now for Reynor. And that is bad. I mean, yeah, sure, you can kill the Zerglings, which is nice. Obviously, you can retake the hatch as well, but... not a good situation here for Reynor. Solar getting a lot of value. Ay. This is like... That's what happens in my games, okay? That really is not supposed to happen at this level. So Reynor was probably busy microing with his drone on his side of the map to scout for a proxy Spinecrawler that he forgot about the OV on the... That's just super sloppy. You really don't want that to happen. Anyways, Solar going triple queen right now. He's gonna be A-okay. Yep. He's got to be A-okay here against whatever the player in red is going for. And you can see right now the economical advantage is already significant here for Solar. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't enjoy playing Zerg versus Zerg as much. Myself included, half of the time. Because I get cheesed a lot in Zerg versus Zerg. And even when you see it coming and even when you know what's happening, it is so it's so easy to accidentally just mess up and yeah, still lose the game. Giving away an Overlord right there is actually huge, though. So Reynor's trying to catch up here by going for a very quick 3rd hatch. He's like, well, I got minerals. I need to do something. But that very much so is a desperation move. He did pull out of gas entirely as well, so I guess he's just going to try and power out workers. Maybe go for a couple more queens. I think this Overlord was unnecessary. He just made an extra Overlord here, too, but... yeah, this kind of feels like Reynor is feeling a little out of it here. That Overlord started up way too early, especially with this timing on the 3rd queen. Or the 3rd hatch, rather. Alright, Solar, not missing a beat so far. He's gone for his own link speed here. He's gone for a roach warren. He's gonna probably go for a +1 evolution chamber upgrade very soon. Are we gonna go missile? Are we gonna go melee? Are we gonna go lair? What are we spending our gas on, Mr. Solar? Oh, we're just gonna go for a link flood? Oh, we're just gonna go for a link flood. Really? So he didn't go for a 3rd hatch. I don't even know if Reynor has scouted this at this point. I think Reynor's just playing his own game. Reynor's playing as if there's no opponent anymore. Yeah, so if Reynor is gonna go for his own link flood, which definitely is something he could choose to do, this is probably the worst case scenario for him. Because he's going up against another Zerg player who's doing the exact same thing. Except much later. And with much more drones. So initially maybe Reynor is gonna have a larger amount of numbers. Larger amount of units, that is, but Reynor's like, come. Or Solar's like, come, fight me. And now the Zerglings are spotted as well. Brenda over here stuck outside of the wall somehow. She should be transfused if he's concerned about it at all, but... Alright, Solar, go, go. Go, go, go. Now he finally decides to go for a third base. Solar's been sitting above 300 minerals for a super long time, by the way, and that's because he doesn't have enough larvae to actually to actually mass Zerglings. So that could be the saving grace right here for Reynor. Just the larva production here is not big enough. Third hatchery, though, in a lot of trouble. Yeah, this is still a sloppy game, though. Like, Solar right now, look at the amount of resources. He's been at a significant amount of money here for a long time. Just because he doesn't have enough larva production. Okay, third hatchery does go down on the other side of the map. Solar doesn't have his own lair or anything. Why did he not just take another gas? Yeah, he's gonna go for a macro hatchery. He's seeing the same thing right now as I am. Why did he not just go for a second gas and go for a quicker lair as a follow-up? Because obviously one way in which you can drop your minerals is by mining more gas and repositioning those drones towards another location. Then you have more things to spend your minerals on as well. Still sitting at 600 minerals. Yeah. I think if you want to go for a ling flood like that, you need to add on the macro hatchery much sooner. Did both of these guys just accidentally go to, like, Diamond League? Or, like, what happened? Diamond League gameplay here with very high control and a very nice micro. Look at what's going on. I've casted so many viewer games of StarCraft 2, man. I feel like this could have definitely... If I had to guess the league, if this was ranked roulette, I probably wouldn't guess pro level, man. I'm not exactly sure. Now Reynor's sitting at 500 plus minerals as well, because he doesn't have his third base. It's like, if you're both massing Zerglings on 2 hatcheries, you just get too much income, right? Like, Zerglings are... Yeah, okay. Zerglings are very cheap when it comes to their mineral cost, and obviously they don't cost any gas, but they're very expensive when it comes to the larva cost, right? Relative to other Zerg units. So if you have more than 20 drones mining 2 hatcheries, you really can't, like, mass a lot of Zerglings very effectively at all, because you're always going to be flooding resources. Either way, the final map in this best-of-5 series, it's gonna be Blackburn. Stamina definitely coming into play there in Game 4. A little bit sloppy from the both of them. Reynor wasn't supposed to lose the very first hatch. Reynor wasn't supposed to lose his very first Overlord. Solar wasn't supposed to have up to like 1,000 resources in total. Anyways, Solar apparently, man. Solar doesn't care. Solar doesn't care today. In his mind, he's probably already making the assumption there's a good chance he's gonna lose to Reynor anyways. So he's just taking a bunch of gambles. And, well, judging by the score so far, it's looking quite well. Hatchery first as well for Reynor, but at the conventional base. Solar going for his over at the gold, and I kinda love it. Yeah. I know they have some very strict gambling laws over in Korea. And I guess the StarCraft players, they take it out in their StarCraft games. Solar accidentally playing a game of Hearthstone over here, man. Incorporating some RNG into his Zerg for the Zerg. Right now he's sitting there crossing his fingers really hard and hoping that Reynor didn't go for any kind of proxies. Or any kind of cheese or any kind of pool first or... Anyways. Reynor at this point, this sucks, man, when you see this. Reynor at this point sees like 8 or so drones transferring towards somewhere on the map. And judging by the fact that there's no hatchery over here, yeah, this Overlord is gonna retreat with his tail between his legs. He knows that there's a gold base up right now for Solar. So how are you gonna fight this? Well, we saw it in game number 2, right? On Pride of Altaris. The income here for Solar, it's gonna go nicely in his favor. So if we're both gonna make the exact same units, Reynor's gonna be very far behind. That being said, Solar probably feels at least a little bit threatened because his bases are disconnected and the queens can't really join each other either. Although, Solar, so far, having balls of steel for the majority of the series, yeah, he's just gonna plant down a third hatch. Sure. Not even concerned. He sees his opponent taking the third hatch as well, so he probably justified it that way. But I'm pretty sure he sent that drone towards the low ground before he spotted his opponent's drone, moving on over towards the third base as well. So if we're both gonna go for the Ling Vein army, and one of them is mining, you know, with the golden minerals, this can only go south for Reynor unless he gets a really good micro trade. But trading well against someone of the caliber of Solar is incredibly hard. Solar, by the way, I do feel like Solar is probably the most underrated Zerg player in the world. The guy has been, like, steadily in the top 10 in the world for pretty much the majority of the decade. He's been, yeah, he's probably been top 10 for the majority of the last 5 years at least. And for some reason, I feel like he doesn't really get nearly as much attention. And the reason for that is that he hasn't won as many tournaments as many other players have. Reynor trying to go for a bit of a desperation Baneling move over here, but Solar a little too good for that. He probably proxies gold bases on this map all the time. Anyways, Solar is ridiculously good. Very, very strong Zerg. But he's like consistently like a round of 8 kind of guy, if that makes any sense. He doesn't really win a lot of events. Round of 8, round of 4. Anyhow, love this overload position right here for Solar. Scouting the outside perimeter where Banelings might be coming in. Evo Chamber, hiding in the back of the main base here for Solar, and he has decided to go for a second lair, or a second extractor right now, as well as a lair. So I'm expecting this is going to be a melee upgrade. Wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go for a little bit of Mutaling Bane in this particular match. I think it's very strong. There's the Roach Warren, though. Doesn't have to. He's going for a very tightly locked-in Vespian Geyser over there. No, he's going to go missile. Okay. Anyways, he's going to go for a blocking of his own gas over there. Interesting move. I guess he really wants to make sure that Banelings aren't going to be able to sneak through there. That's why the Zergling is over there. That's why the Overlord is over there. Probably a good enough idea. Alright. Yeah, so Reynor is catching up here just by having more workers, right? So Solar has to play a little bit more cautiously. Scouting right now with a Zergling as well, making sure that he knows what his opponent is roughly going for. And he sees the massive amount of workers that are being produced right now. So Solar is gonna, yeah, add on some of his own again. Reynor right now doing the same thing, scouting his opponent's third mineral line, making sure that he sees the amount of workers that are over there. Lair is done, scouting around for a Spire. No Spires, actually, in this best-of-5 at all. I mean, usually if we're going Spire, we see it rushed out a little bit quicker. Reynor could add on his own right now. It's 200 gas, but I think he's going to go, yeah, just roach speed and just a whole lot of units. Hi, you know what? Since he does have 8 more drones here mining, yeah, it's not actually the end of the world. Did I just see a Spire? Really? Okay. So Solar is going to go for a Spire. Very randomly timed. In the current meta of Zerg versus Zerg... Oh, that's the plan. In the current meta of Zerg versus Zerg, you generally speaking just add on a Spire whenever you like the idea of it. Like, oh, look at that. There's another Spire as well. Here I was saying we weren't going to see any Spires in this best-of-5. Yeah, in the current meta of ZVZ, we see Spires being taken at random. It's 200 minerals, 200 gas... and it allows you to make Mutalisks. Both players right now trying to outsmart each other, though. So when playing Muta battles, the player with more Mutas will pretty much always win. The only problem is that against a lot of Roaches, it can be very difficult to actually kill the Roaches in time. So say like there's 5 Mutas out right now for Reynor. They're going to take about 7 minutes to kill all of these Roaches over here. So like once you reach critical mass, it's great, but... yeah, both players really, really trying hard to sell the story to each other that they're not going for a Spire. They constantly scout each other. Roaches are everywhere. But yeah, there's the first 7 flippy flappies coming up for Solar. And Reynor gonna go for his own Spire right now. He's got 8. The only problem here, and I really like this for Solar, yeah, Solar decided to go for a much quicker 4th base. And obviously, since Mutas are 100 minerals, 100 gas, it's all about the gas count. So if he can mine the 4th base here a little bit sooner than his opponent and actually get the gases going over there, Solar should be able to make a significantly larger army. Both players still mixing in Roaches as well, though. It's a little bit technical. Maybe it's just one group of Mutas and then down towards other units as well. Okay, so there's the 8 Mutas for Reynor. There's the 7 Mutas as well for Solar. They have been spotted at this point, because he's been killing Ovies. Reynor decides to add on more mutas of his own. Solar, though, just going for a lot of roaches here as a follow-up. So he's only gone for like a small group of them, really. Relatively small pack of mutas here. Okay, he's gonna lose a couple as well, it looks like. No, so far they do manage to stay alive. Either way, I think the main fight is actually gonna happen right here between these roaches, and Solar right now has got a much bigger army. Reynor caught with his pens down. Solar decides to add on a couple of corruptors as well. And this is what I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of mutas available here for Reynor. And sure, eventually he would theoretically kill all of these roaches, but Solar is smelling blood in the water right now. He's smelling blood in the water right now, and he wants to end this game right here, right now. Mutas coming in from the side as well. Only 2 drones end up going down so far, by the way, so really good control right there by Reynor. Gold base is still alive as well. And I think that was actually supposed to be a killer push right there from Solar, but he doesn't get it. Nope, that trait was very effective for Reynor, I'm sure. Yeah, well, not the end of the world. Right now he's starting to make a bit of a difference there. Alright, and now all of a sudden it becomes kind of awkward here for Solar to be able to attack. Because now the mutas obviously are... I was gonna say a reigning disguise. Corruptors have been added into the mix. 5 more are coming up. Corruptors obviously not good against roaches at all, because they can only fight air to air. But they're really good against other mutalisks. So... the queens right now, absolutely necessary. Reynor's also gone for the +1 flyer attack. The mutas have returned back home. Corruptor still hunting down the mutas in red. And it looks like Reynor does manage to, Solar does manage to stabilize here. Okay. A little bit of an engagement. Mutas are very fast. Corruptors aren't slow by any stretch, but that was a nice move right there for Reynor. He's looking to kill some drones over here at the 4th base of the Zerg in blue as well, and that's now 18 drones going down. At the same time, though, mutas on the other side of the map are busy fighting a spore crawler. Solar does kill it. He's probably given up on mutas pretty much altogether. At the same time, he's also shoving with the roaches towards the other side of the map, but Reynor does have enough over there. Through the slow zones, these mutas in red are struggling a little bit. Both players, though, taking a lot of damage. And in the end, if you look at the supply count right now and the work count, it's all pretty much dead even. Okay, a couple of mutas here. Randomly going to their deaths. Once again, Reynor trying to see if he can shove forward here, but I don't like this fight for him at all. This is such a strange game. It's a delicate process, man. Mixing in the right amount of units, because if you don't mix in enough units of one kind, you just lose. I really like the amount of damage, though, that Reynor is doing now. Corruptors are trying to chase this down. Once again, though, a couple of mutas over here getting quite a bit of damage done. I would have liked this better if Reynor didn't also lose 16 drones here of his own in the process. I think most of those could have been avoided by just, you know, getting the queens in the right position and maybe transfusing that spore crawler a little bit sooner. Or at all. Corruptors have a lot of health. Yeah. They're thinking about puking on a base. The Corruptors actually have been split up. Solar going for a double pack of Corruptors. This is literally the first time, I think, I've ever seen this in a Zerg versus Zerg. Look at that. The Corruptors getting a kill despite the fact there's a lot of mutas still going around. Reynor losing the gold base. But also losing... Solar, that is. He's losing a lot of drones there in the process, too. Only 34 workers remain right now for Solar. Man, this is a banger to end on. Right now, the Corruptors are apparently starting to hunt down the Overlords. Yeah, Reynor's going to hit a killer supply block here very soon. Corruptors just simply have so much health. Hydralisk then coming up here for Reynor eventually. Not entirely sure if he even needs it, but he's probably scared that after all of this is done, that the opponent is going to go back to mutas. And if that's the case, yeah, what are you going to do about it, right? Like, you can count the Corruptors, but mutas are going to need something a little bit more specific. Queens are doing alright for now. Solar at this point, though, has the luxury of just producing roaches and ravagers here, and that's what he's been doing for the majority of the time. Caustic Spray once again denying a gold base. Corruptors have been chasing down these mutas for quite some time. And once again, the mutas find some damage. Okay. Kill right there on the gold base. No cancel there by Reynor in time. Probably too busy microing a million other things. Solar right there with 4 digits worth of APM there for a second. Not bad. Corrosive balls, though. Definitely do inflate that with the rapid fire. One hero Mutalisk of Solar. Trying to push all of this back. The problem with Hydras is that they aren't any good until you get both of the upgrades done. So Reynor actually making very ballsy moves. Going into Hydra upgrades, but then also adding on the Lurker then. He just spent a lot of money here on things that can't fight just yet. Well, they can't fight well. This fight, though, for Solar, not ideal, but he does have the high ground advantage. One hero Roach right there moving a little bit too far forward. Corruptors still chasing down mutas, and soon the mutas are going to be taken care of. Solar at this point has spotted as well that Hydra's in the mix, so he knows that there's a good chance that the opponent is going to be switching on over towards Lurkers very soon. He probably wants to see if he can close out this game right here, right now, but Reynor's making it very hard for him. Once there's enough Lurkers out, it's practically impossible to push with just Roaches and Ravagers. Corrosive Bowls are good against Lurkers, but yeah, Lurkers can absolutely decimate any type of ground army. So Reynor's got a lot of money in the bank right now. Lurker Den just about to finish up. He doesn't have a Hive, so no upgrades available for him. But look, this is where the Hydras are in the main base. Yeah, he's trying to morph all of those in. He actually needs one more Overlord here. A little bit awkward. Roach is over there at the front, not really getting that much work done either. Corruptors here trying to see if they can potentially deal some damage too, but I guess Solar, yeah, is just going to go for the Caustic Spray right there on the base. Roaches that were going for the counterattack coming back home. Loads of Corrosive Balls right there, just barely not hitting on the army. Lurkers are done morphing in right now, and I think Reynor's going to need those at the front. Corruptors, though, have killed the Natural Expo, and now they're going to go after the Overlords. Looks like Solar is just giving up on them, but just trying to deal a bunch of damage. Okay, does decide to return the favor there eventually and go across the map. At the same time, since the Lurkers are still not on the low ground, yeah, well, one of them gets picked up for free. I guess Solar's positioning here is a little bit too strong. He's capable of killing his opponent's third base as well. Alright, Reynor did send a couple of units towards the other side of the map, but that's not happening, and now Solar's army is looking absolutely massive. I think Solar wants to see if he can close out this game right here, right now. Okay, Lurker is going to be Corrosive Balled down, only getting like one line of fire out. Solar, though, still needs to be careful. Couple more Lurkers here as well. Ooh, walking down from the Natural. Corrosive Balls right there are going to connect with the both of them. That's it. Solar ends up winning this best-of-5 series over Reynor 3-2. That final game was insane. I think my favorites were the final game and the first one. I still can't get over the fact that he decided to go for a Spike Crawler rush.